So yeah, the other one that I was going to bring you, and going through the probably like the Yandere kind of line of type of romances in here. Um, I thought about bringing you like the Karamu one. This is actually a trilogy, okay? And it's still okay. It's still to be announced. I thought it was completely out. Okay, still to be announced. This is from Chattercap. Okay, Chattercap. And let me see it in here. This it says that it has voice acting. Okay, voice acting. The first two games are fully voiced, while the third is partially voiced. Okay, but in here, when you're doing the demo, you will only have, I think you will only have access to the first one for the demo, okay? And it goes like, I want you to be mine. I want to trap you, to wrap you in a web. Every day you'll wake up and the only person you'll see is me. The only person you'll need is me. Yeah, the typical Yandere boy. The Karamu Trilogy is a series of 3 horror romance visual novels about a girl who tries to break up with her obsessive boyfriend, who really doesn't want to break up. Playable in English and French. Okay. So 2 weeks ago, you sent your boyfriend a breakup text. Now you are stuck in the middle of the forest with nothing but a broken bike, a cell phone with no reception, and your slightly creepy ex-boyfriend for company. He wants to talk, and one thing is clear: he really doesn't want to break up. He probably won't take no for an answer. He's hiding secrets, but you've got a few of your own, and it seems like your pasts are tangled in ways that you could never have imagined. As this bloodstained mess of a relationship approaches its conclusion, one question remains. Which one of you is the monster? What is this? And it's bundled in one with none. Okay. Yeah, this is not going to be the trilogy in itself. It's probably not going to be very long because they are saying that even the bundle is going to take us like 5 hours. So yeah, I was kind of expecting like half an hour in here too. One extremely devoted and loyal male love interest who really can't live without you. Okay. Let's see how this is going to be. So start. Nellie's throat stung as she gulped the cold down air. Her arms were shaking. The muscles ached so much that she struggled to grasp the handles. The haggard squeaks from the wheels of her bike tore through the silence that permeated the dark forest. Let me just check this. Okay, it is. She choked for breath around the small flashlight clenched between her teeth. The light was modest, only illuminating a small patch of the road directly in front of her bike. She needed to hurry. The sun was already starting to rise. It was okay. There were only 3 left. Nellie drove her heel down, pedaling with renewed vigor. She raised herself from the seat, leaning over the handles of the bike as she frantically turned the pedals, going faster and faster and faster until... snap. Terror ripped through Nellie as she was flung over the handles of her bike. She instinctively covered her face with her arm before she hit the ground. Her shoulder smacked against the concrete, and a jolt of pain tore through the right side of her body. For a moment, she lay on the road, trying to steady her shaky breaths as the throbbing pain subsided into a dull ache. As soon as her head stopped spinning, she forced herself up on her elbows. She rotated her shoulder, It still hurt, but she could move it without any issues. Okay, maybe I could. I don't know where it is. Okay, this the log. Maybe I could put a little bit more higher for you. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, so I have no idea. Her knees and arms stung too. At first, she was going to check them for injuries, but then she stopped herself. She got up on her knee. She got up on her knees and looked around, squinting in an attempt to pierce the murkiness of the early dawn light. Heart pounding, she patted the ground all around her. She found it. She breathed a sigh of relief. The yellow bag had fallen off the side. She pulled it closer and examined it carefully. The zipper was shut tight. Everything was still inside. She retrieved the fallen flashlight before returning her attention to her bike. It had collapsed on its side, wheels still spinning. The chain had come undone, dropped over the ground like a dead snake. She picked up the chain. It was strangely slack.
Nellie.
She looked up. Cold tingles run down her neck and through her spine, sending a chill running all the way to her fingers and toes. Raku was kneeling over her. Raku Kumode. Okay, like this is like the times where I feel like I cannot continue trying to say it in English. Hakuo, more like Hakuo Kumode, her ex-boyfriend. The tall young man peered down at her with curious, icy eyes from under the fringe of his badly dyed hair. What was he doing here? How could he be here right now at this exact moment, right when she would have done anything to avoid seeing him?
What are you doing here?
Going. Do we want to? I don't know, because since he's the dangerous type of guy, and I don't want to be going into bad endings all the time in here. I probably should be the submissive type of person. I do suppose. I don't know. Going for a bike
I
ride.
went for an early morning bike ride.
Really?
I was still a little too dark to clearly see his face, but Nellie could hear the skepticism in his voice. It made sense during the year and a half that they had dated. Nellie never used her bike for anything other than her daily 20-minute commute or the occasional shopping trip. Voluntary exercise was torture for her.
I'm trying to be healthier.
Oh, that's good. Me too.
Maybe I could put a tiny bit louder for you, I do suppose.
I was out for a walk myself. Drank too many energy drinks to power through the night, so I'm trying to burn off some of the caffeine.
His voice trailed off.
Anyway, are you alright? Fell off your bike?
He extended a hand. Nellie didn't take it. She stood up and slung the bag around her shoulder again, ignoring the mud and twigs stuck to her raincoat. Raku smiled awkwardly and retracted the hand before kneeling by her bike.
Your chain. It's broken.
What?
Raku picked up the broken ends of the chain and waved them around.
Don't think you'll be able to ride it for a while, unfortunately. You're heading home, right? Me too. I'll walk with you.
Nellie's voice caught in her throat. She tried to think of some excuse, anything that she could blurt out to make him go away, but she couldn't think of anything. Raku's face softened with a melancholic expression.
We don't have to talk. I just don't want to leave you alone out here. Not after what happened to Sana.
Nellie bit her lip. Sana, her roommate and her best friend since middle school, had vanished 3 months ago. A week later, her body was found at the bottom of a cliff in this very forest, mangled beyond recognition. A tragic hiking accident. I want to be submissive because I think we might get into, like, as I always say, if I was playing this for myself, I would do it in another way. But I will try to not get into a lot of bad endings because otherwise we need to rewind this, and you know that I don't like that. So all
right.
right. Maybe it's even worse. Maybe he's going to kill us. She tried to rack her brain for an excuse, but she had no good reason to say no. Raku extended a hand.
Want me to carry the bag for you?
No.
Nellie jerked away. Let's say nothing. She held the bag close. He didn't respond. Instead, he placed both hands on the bike handles and started to walk it down the road. To Nellie's relief, Raku stayed true to his word. Normally he was quite talkative, rambling to her about whatever nerdy hobby captivated him that week. Now he didn't say a word. In fact, he was barely looking at her. He just continued walking, only casting an occasional glance at Nellie to make sure he was walking at her pace. When she was certain that he wasn't looking, Nellie peeked at her ex-boyfriend out of the corner of her eye. The circles under his eyes were as dark as ever, permanently tattooed reminders of his horrific sleeping habits. They stood out darkly against the anemic pallor of his skin. He was usually on the paler side, but he looked even more sickly than normal. Maybe he hadn't been getting enough sleep. Other students at their university used copious amounts of caffeine to fuel last-minute homework assignments or late-night cram sessions, but Nellie knew better. Yeah, like this thing with dark circles, like people just take it. It's the same with me. Yeah, nowadays I do have trouble sleeping, but I always had dark circles under my eyes. I always had it, always. Like since a kid, I always had this. And it was not because of bad sleeping habits, but I don't know, people tend to look at you when you have them and they're like, oh, it's because you do not sleep or something like that. Yeah, I do have issues with that nowadays, but I always had the dark circles and it was not because of that. It's funny that people just judge you like that just because you have like dark circles. Raku had definitely stayed up all night raiding with his guild in his latest MMORPG edition. Echidna Online? Echidna? I don't know. Echidna. Maybe Echidna Online. Let me say it like that. He conscripted her on a few occasions, giving her precise instructions on what buttons to press while he ran to the bathroom. Those probably should have been bitter memories, but strangely enough, Nellie didn't hate those evenings. She would lay on his bed, planting turnips and petting cows on her handheld console, and every once in a while he would turn to her and grumble about lackadaisical teammate or celebrate a particularly close call. She wondered if his raids went well. He had complained about terrible drops for the past 2 months. Did he finally get the item that he wanted? Something hit her face. She reached up and wiped the raindrop trickling down her forehead. But as soon as she did that, another droplet hit her face, and then another and another. Soon a torrent of water was assaulting them. Nellie drew her wood over her head, guarded from onslaught by her raincoat. Raku wasn't nearly so lucky.
Over there!
He grabbed her hand, ushering her to an old bus stop at the side of the road. When they entered, Raku wheeled the bike inside, leaning it against the back wall.
Lucky. Glad this was here.
He wiped his face with his sleeve and ran a hand through his hair, flicking some of the water out.
You were even luckier, though.
What do you mean?
He pointed at her coat.
I'm surprised you thought to wear a raincoat. Rain wasn't anywhere on the weather forecast this morning.
It was kind of humid, so...
Raku seemed to accept the explanation. He looked around the inside of the bus stop.
I wonder if the buses still come to this stop. There's no sign.
He took his phone out of the pocket of his jeans and wiped it on his sweatshirt before thumbing through to the Maps app.
No reception. Can't load anything.
He squinted at the stormy gray sky.
Maybe it'll stop soon. No choice but to wait.
He plopped himself on the bench, crossing his legs and leaning his elbow on his knee. Nellie chewed her thumb, glaring at the raindrops falling all around them. Should she leave? But if she did that, he might be suspicious, and she couldn't abandon her bike here. Her bag wasn't waterproof either. She brushed off the bench and sat down too. Raku tried to hide the smile. He rubbed the back of his neck and looked all around the inside of the bus stop, his gaze straying to every nook and cranny before finally landing on Nellie.
So, what have you been up to lately?
Nothing much. Working on my thesis.
Sure, ask
What about you?
I'd like to say I've been working on my thesis too, but I've been occupied with a personal project.
That involves her, maybe. Maybe like the fact that the chain broke was nothing that wasn't already related to that personal project. I don't know.
Coding related?
Raku was notoriously capricious with his interests. During the year that they had been together, Nellie had seen him shovel out over a dozen small projects, mobile apps, video games, online tools, and the like. Any small shower thought would be spun into reality within a week.
Something a little different this time.
A cryptic answer, but Nellie resisted the urge to probe.
Well, try not to get too distracted. But I'm sure you'll finish your thesis either way.
No matter how much he procrastinated, Raku always managed to submit his assignments on time, with stellar results. It irked Nellie to no end. Raku smiled.
I wish everyone believed in me the way you do, Nellie. Hey.
He looked her up and down, brows furrowing, scrutinizing the mud on her leggings and raincoat. Nellie shrunk under his attentive appraisal.
You're hurt.
Huh?
She looked down. As she sat on the bench, the raincoat was pulled up, revealing her knees. Holes had been ripped in both of her leggings, exposing the skin underneath. One knee had small red patches where it had been rubbed raw against the ground. The other had been completely skinned. Blood rained down in dark crimson rivulets, staining her leggings a muddy purple. Nellie blinked. Why hadn't she felt anything? Was it the color? Was it the cold, or the adrenaline? Raku knelt by her knees and rummaged around his inner jacket pocket, fishing out a white handkerchief. He wiped the blood that was trickling down her leg before diverting his attention to the wound. He dabbed at it, carefully wiping the exposed flesh. Yeah, this is like, if this is a situation that is passed in Japan, it is more realistic to actually see the guy carrying a handkerchief. Because if this is something that it's going to pass like in the Western, it is very, very improbable that the guy is carrying a handkerchief, let me tell you. Yeah, it's very improbable. And I noticed that, like, for instance, in here in Europe, yes, some guys still carry. Yeah, you still see. But when I was in the US, I don't think any man would actually carry a handkerchief. Yeah, I don't think so. In here, you can still see like some men carrying. Yeah. Her ex-boyfriend had unfortunately spent all of his skill points on his academic smarts, coding skills, and gaming prowess. He was sorely lacking in most of life's necessary abilities. There was almost a 50% chance that his toast would emerge completely charred. He kept his papers in haphazardly organized piles on the floor. Somehow, he even managed to sew an entire shirt sleeve shut while attempting to reattach a button. The button was sadly not attached. But he was always meticulous. No matter how small the task, Raku expended 120% effort. He would fuss for an hour while reducing a cream sauce to the perfect consistency. When he did her laundry, he carefully smoothed out every wrinkle. When she went out of town and asked him to take care of her cat, he shared a spreadsheet with her detailing every aspect of the pet's care. As she watched him painstakingly try to remove every speck of dirt from her scraped knee, those little memories flooded through Nellie's head, refusing to leave no matter how hard she tried to push them away. Her mind was foggy and her heart tightened.
Does it hurt? Unfortunately, all I have is this. Shoot, I wish we were at home. This needs to be cleaned with ethanol. Does that hurt? Tell me if it hurts.
I'm fine.
Nellie bit her lip. Her knee didn't hurt, but this side did, Raku kneeling next to her, worrying and tending to her scrapes and bruises. They had broken up. She should have been a stranger to him, less than a stranger. Raku tied the handkerchief around the scrape, making sure that it wasn't too tight.
How's that? Okay?
It's fine.
She swallowed. The lump in her throat bobbed in place, refusing to disappear.
Somehow the blood got on the outside of your coat, too. Not a lot, though.
He scrubbed a few spots on the bottom of the raincoat. He gave her coat one last wipe with a tissue before getting up and returning to his seat.
I'm sorry. I didn't notice you were hurt.
I said it's okay.
They stood in silence for around 10 minutes, but as they sat, Nellie could tell that Raku was growing increasingly tense. His leg bounced and as he chewed on his lip. Finally, he turned towards her.
Nellie, can we talk?
Here it was. He wanted to talk. Of course he did. They had dated for almost a year and a half. They had even discussed their future plans together. If Raku had sent her a text out of the blue saying, "I'm breaking up with you," then she would have had questions too. She didn't want to talk or explain, which was why she had avoided him for 2 weeks after sending the text. She had eluded him very successfully, until this moment, that is.
Was it something I did? Did I do something wrong?
You're suffocating. We are graduating soon. I don't need to explain myself. I want to say it, but I don't know how this is going to turn out. Like, I want to be honest, but I don't know how this is going to turn out. You're suffocating.
You're suffocating. You never give me any space or time for myself.
What?
Always asking to eat meals together, or picking me up after class and work, or waiting in the library when I'm in lab.
This is the first time I've heard this. I didn't know you felt that way. I just wanted to spend time with you, Nellie. We're both so busy with our theses and tutoring, and you've got your job at the library. I wanted to take every opportunity to see you. I can change that. I'll wait until you want to spend time together. We were talking about moving in together a month ago. I don't understand how your feelings change so quickly.
They just did.
She looked down and twisted her fingers together. She hesitated to say anything further. It felt like she was standing on the edge of a precipice, and a single word would send her tumbling to the abyss.
Is it because of what I did to Ji-hoon? Because I didn't apologize?
Ji-hoon is more of a Korean type of name. He gritted his teeth.
You know why I did it. You heard all those things he was saying about Sana. Insisting that she was addicted to social media, saying she probably fell because she was trying to take a cute selfie with the sunrise. How could he say that? About his own girlfriend. He deserved more than one punch.
Nellie's mouth tightened. She wanted to protest, to say that wasn't it. In reality, Raku's outburst had been gratifying. At the memorial, she sat in silence, trying to ignore Ji-hoon's prattle so that she could focus on honoring Sana. The seconds felt like grueling hours. She wanted to sew Ji-hoon's mouth shut. When Raku finally hit him, it felt as if Raku had taken all her bubbling indignation and anger and shoved it in Ji-hoon's face. I want to know if I pressure where this is going to lead us, but I really didn't want to get like the bad ending, but it's sure.
It's not that.
Then why? When I asked for your number the first time, I didn't really think you'd give it to me. After all, you're you, and I'm me. I didn't think I had a shot with you. But I had to ask. I would have cursed myself if I didn't even try. And you gave it to me. And then you said yes when I asked you out for lunch, and then you kept saying yes. I was so happy, but I also thought that maybe you just viewed me as your gaming friend. So I asked, is this a date? And then you laughed and said, of course it's a date. At that moment, I felt this pang in my chest. I realized something. All of the messy, revolting things that had happened up until that point. The vile vulgarity of my own existence. It was because I had already spent all the luck I had in this lifetime to meet you. I had never met anyone like you before. Even though life hasn't been kind to you, you always find room in your heart to be kind to others. People, plants, animals. Even something as little and creepy and disgusting as an insect. I still remember when you found a spider in your apartment. Not a small one either. It was perched on the wall above your bed, barely holding on with 3 broken legs. You reached out and caught it in your hands. It would have been so easy to squish it right then and there. But you didn't. You opened the window and let it go. At that moment, I knew you were special. Really special.
I don't remember that at all. Did I do that?
Raku laughed.
You did. I guess you wouldn't remember. It was such a small thing. But I remembered.
Raku turned towards Nellie and slowly extended his arms around her. She stiffened slightly, but she didn't push him away.
You know how you go through life, and you meet all these different people, but none of them really know you. You'll meet and you'll talk about what movie just came out, or what assignment is due next in class, or what food they're serving in the cafeteria. But you can never tell them about the real you. It's like you brush together for a second, and then the next, you're each going your separate ways. And when you stop taking classes together, or you move away, you never see those people again. And your life isn't any different in the end, because they didn't really know you. But you're different, Nellie. You know me. In some ways, you know me better than my closest friends, and even my family. You know things about me that I can never tell anyone else.
Okay.
And if I couldn't see you anymore, then my life would be different. There would be a big, gaping hole where you used to be. Losing you terrifies me. I'm afraid that no one else would be able to know me the way you do. That I won't be able to open up to anyone else the way I opened up to you. And I don't want anyone else to know me the way you do, because they wouldn't be you.
I didn't know you felt that way about me.
When Nellie didn't resist, Rocco pulled her tighter, whispering in her ear.
I don't want to break up. I love you, Nellie. I never want to love anyone but you. You don't feel the same? Not at all?
Nellie stayed silent, but she unconsciously leaned into Rocco's hold. With her friends talked about their childhoods, Nellie couldn't relate. When they reminisced, they brought up their beloved childhood cartoons, their favorite vacations, and their cherished family pets. Nellie didn't have memories of any of those things. Instead, all she remembered was the constant yelling, the embarrassment when she couldn't afford lunch, the fear as she huddled under the covers, never at home even in her own place, the relief when her father went out one day and never returned. Sometimes she talked to Sana, and Sana tried her best. She listened and nodded and said, "I understand completely." But that was a lie. There were simply some things that Nellie's best friend couldn't understand. All Sana could offer were some comforting words. "That's rough, that's horrible, I can't believe that happened," as if Nellie's favorite television show had been cancelled, or she cracked her phone screen, or she had gotten a D on her latest exam. It wasn't Sana's fault, but it didn't make Nellie feel any better. Eventually, Nellie stopped talking about herself altogether. That changed when she met Raku. It wasn't some dramatic encounter. They were standing in line at the library, both waiting to check out a couple of books. Raku noticed the keychain hanging from her backpack, a small white and blue pixel art spaceship from Space Blasters. When they reached the front of the line and Nellie handed the librarian her books, they were still excitedly chatting about their favorite retro games. She promised to lend Rocco one of her cartridges, and they exchanged it. It's not coming. Let's go again. She promised to lend Rocco one of her cartridges, and they exchanged contacts. Sometimes it's as I say, because you roll a lot the tongue, you don't notice it's native for you. And sometimes I get in a situation here that Nellie didn't talk about herself at first. They talked, of course, but it was usually about their shared hobbies. They liked different genres and played in different ways. Raku fancied punishing difficulty and expensive exploration, while Nellie preferred methodically leveling her characters with optimized strategies. Still, they had plenty in common. When the conversation veered too personal, Nellie drove it back into the safety of benign small talk. Yet Raku had a way of methodically tearing down her carefully constructed barriers. As they lounged on his bed, full and drowsy from eating too much cheap pizza, again the pizza, the words started slipping out of her mouth one by one. For Nellie, Raku was different. When he listened to her darkest thoughts, he didn't look at her with pity, skepticism, disgust, or apathy. He looked at her with understanding, as if he had been with her every step of the way. Raku was special. That's exactly why they had no breakup. That's exactly, I thought it was, okay, that's exactly why they had to break up. Okay, because he was special. Okay. She couldn't involve him in her life or her problems. She had to end it. Nellie warmed her hands between their bodies and pushed Rocco away forcefully. She says this one is like she doesn't want to hesitate. This one she wants to hesitate. This one she just doesn't care. Let's hesitate. Be kind.
I understand how you feel, but you'll find someone else. There are plenty of people way better for you than me. You just haven't met them yet. You didn't do anything wrong. I'm not ready for this kind of relationship right now.
So that's it? It's over? Just like that?
Nellie's voice was resolute.
It's over.
It's over. It's over. It's over.
Every time he repeated himself, his face darkened.
Even though I've loved you for years. Even though I loved you this much.
He lowered his head, dragging a hand through his hair as he turned away from her. He returned to the other side of the bus stop, leaning one hand heavily against a wall as raindrops dampened his worn-out orange sneakers. Nellie thought about responding. She considered spouting a few words of comfort, reassuring her ex-boyfriend with some cliché lines. It's not you, it's me. I'm not good enough for you. She was his first serious girlfriend. He had told her as much. He had never experienced heartbreaks. He was a child crying over his first scrapped knee, acting like his leg had been amputated without anesthesia. She reconsidered and decided to stay silent. It was better if he believed that she was cruel and callous. After a few weeks of sad gaming sessions and angry rants to his friends, he would probably forget about her altogether. Besides, she couldn't worry about him right now. She had bigger problems at hand. He straightened. When he stood in front of her again, there was something different about his expression, something colder, more resolute, as if he had made some sort of decision during his morose period of introspection.
I heard about you and Ji-hoon. I've seen you two around.
Prickles ran up Nellie's spine.
What about it? Are you going to start policing who I spend time with? I don't see how that's any business of yours.
People have been talking, saying that you took advantage of your best friend's death to cozy up to her rich boyfriend. They said that you two spent a lot of time together, that you went to his house on Friday.
Okay, thank you for playing the demo for the Karamu Trilogy. It's an active development. You can follow it, major social media, wishlist the game on Steam. Thank you again for time played. Enjoy. Return to start. Yeah. So yeah, when you open, you have like this, and then you choose which one you want to play. And I do suppose each one of them is related to our boy in here. Yeah, so not available in demo, yeah, as I thought. It seemed interesting, and it's cool that it has voice acting, so you can like feel more involved with the game. I just don't know how much they are thinking about releasing the full trilogy. Since, as I said to you, apparently it's going to take like 5 hours of playtime. And from what I usually see when they have like voice acting, because they spend some money with the voice acting, sometimes it ends up being more expensive just because of that, when you're just going to get like 5 hours of it. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So it's probably very interesting, but I'm still kind of like, okay, let's see for how much it's going to retail for, you know, like, so it's like, let's see for how much they are going to put the game. But it seemed very interesting. Yeah, it seemed interesting, honestly. So let me tell you, that's it for today because I need to stop. I'm starting to feel pains. So I cannot even stay any longer in here. It was good that I decided to do like this today. So that's it. I hope tomorrow that I feel a little bit better and then we can stay in here for longer, that I can bring you something where we can stay in here for a longer time. Thank you very much for being in there, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.